What up, guys? We are live. This is Late Night Live, episode 16. And we got the whole gang back. Ace of Jacks Media Grounds. Chris, how you doing, my
Hello.
friend?
Good.
The man, Eric. How are you doing, sir?
Hello, friends. I'm well.
8-bit gaming legend, Dathan.
Good evening, class.
And we got Travis. He's back.
Good
He's
evening.
back again. We didn't he's not tired of us yet.
Didn't scare him
Far
off.
from it. Far from it.
So cool. So tonight should be a little fun show. We had a little get together was it Sunday? Yeah. We had a good get together on Sunday at Next Level Pinball Museum and Arcade, and we're gonna go over kind of the fun stuff there. And talk about some of the other stuff. There's some cool emulation. I don't know how many of you guys have an iPhone, but I got pretty stoked this week, and I've been doing something with my iPhone, and it's nothing naughty. Well, maybe it's sort of naughty, maybe if you think of it like that. But we'll get into that and some other stuff. But Chris, you've been playing any games last week?
Still playing Prince of Persia 2 Thrones. I did try Harold Halibut.
Oh, yeah?
I saw your stream. Yeah.
It came out on Game Pass, so tried that.
Looks like you played it for about an hour.
Yeah, and then I was gonna try. They put out a chapter-based King's Quest in 2016. I was gonna give that a try.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's all I've played so far this week. Most of it's been spent on this stupid Lego set back here that's Lego's foreign.
Yeah, well, and it's not quite Lego. So why don't you show everyone the? Can I go full screen on you? Let me see. Right here.
Yeah,
So it's like not exactly a Lego set. It's a knockoff Chinese set. So there's a fisherman's village, and somehow Chris bought the Chinese version on. What was it on Amazon? Where'd you get that?
Yep, Amazon. Gotta love it when they advertise the Lego set.
So yeah, hopefully they're cracking down on that kind of stuff. But I guess maybe it's all fair game. I don't know how that works. Eric, did you play any Darkest Dungeon?
Oh, yeah. Still
I
doing
sent
it.
you the trailer for Darkest Dungeon 2, so you better beat it before the new game comes out.
It's already out, man. It's just
already out.
That was the release trailer for what PlayStation? PlayStation, yeah.
Is that the version you're playing?
No, well, I'm playing the first one, but yeah,
Okay.
the same people made the second version that you showed me. But yeah, still playing that, and then went to Next Level with you all.
Saying Spirits, dude, thank you for coming on, man. A Rego set. You probably shouldn't read that. FYI, I'm half Asian. Okay.
You get a pass. You get a pass.
Yeah. It's all good. Dathan, how you doing? Did you play any games last night? Or not last night, last week? If you could probably could have played it last night.
Still plowing through Prince of Persia. And I did pick up the Transformers rail shooter on PSVR 2, the Beyond Reality, because it was, I think, half off.
Dope.
And it's pretty good. It's not too bad. I haven't done VR in a long time, so it took me a little while to get used to play that again. And then a little bit of Vampire Survivors again, because there is actually some Contra DLC coming out for that next month. So that's where I'm at.
Cool. Travis, what about you? Did you play any more Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
Every night. Yeah, every night.
Dude, nice.
As I'm heading off to bed. That's the thing. I got a gaming laptop, and so that's the key to being able to game with a family. Because once I head to bed, and I can play until I pass out,
Right.
So yeah, every night been doing the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then it's been fun. It's it is what it is. It's just very much same
You just
thing,
don't.
rinse and
You don't
repeat.
seem that impressed with it so far to me.
Well, I wouldn't give it a Game of the Year award by any means. And it
Yeah.
did, for some reason, get hyped a lot. And I don't know if that's because the Vikings TV show, I think, was kind of at the popularity at that moment. And then maybe it was, because of that, people were all about it. But it is a lot like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and the one before that. So to me, it feels exactly the same as those, just in a different setting. So.
Yeah.
But no,
Cool.
I would not tell people to pony up a bunch of money to purchase it. If it was on sale, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think now you can get it at a decent price.
Yeah.
So, no, we had a fun week. Travis, I apologize if you were at the event on Sunday. I never saw you.
I was. I was there for I think about 2 hours, and I met everybody
Okay.
but you. Yeah, that's correct.
I
But
think I
that's
was
fine.
I was deep into playing pinball. Probably I played it like
Yeah.
straight for an hour.
Yeah, and that's the balance of that place. So I've been there for a birthday party, and my review of that is it's a good place to go by yourself, and it's a good place to go with people if you want to say hello, and then go your separate ways and reconvene in an hour. But it's not super conducive for like real social engagements, right? That's kind of
Sure.
that's
Well,
kind of why we like our hobby, right?
That's right. Social? No, thank you.
Yeah, no,
But that was one of the. I mean, the place is great, right? We all had a blast.
yeah, absolutely.
But one of the notable gaps that I think we all saw and were lamenting they did not have was the 6-player Konami X-Men game. Speaking of playing social games, right?
I
Oh,
thought you were
yeah,
going to
yeah,
say
yeah.
beer, but yes, they did not have 6-player X-Men.
That way we all could have. I mean, we all could have fit on that machine. But there's very few machines that facilitate 5 players.
Yeah.
And then it was a beautiful sunny day. I took this
Yep.
picture outside. My goodness.
Now,
They
since we've
didn't
been
have the Ninja Turtles, the old school 4-player either.
Mhm,
Turtles in
mhm.
Time. That's kind of a staple for an arcade.
Sure.
Yeah, no, they had that new one.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun.
And
you know what I did like is, do you remember the Nintendo, the Play Choice machines that you put a quarter in and it played for, I think it was a time limit. It was like 7 minutes a quarter.
Yeah.
So I don't remember seeing the dedicated cabinet there. But what they did, what I thought was kind of cool, is that they took out some of the boards and then made their own dedicated cabinets for each of those games.
Mhm.
So they had like Rad Racer was its own cabinet, and then they had Goonies, not Goonies 2, Goonies 1 on its own cabinet, and that was all kind of lined up against the wall on that corner. I thought that was pretty cool. Yes, Rad Racer glasses.
I'm ready. I'm ready,
Rad
guys.
Racer.
I'm ready to do it.
So, Dathan, I heard Eric, I think, had said that you believe that the whirlwind that is there was formerly owned by you.
I believe so, yes. I am 99% sure because I sold it to a guy who lived in Portland. And on the bottom corner, on the bottom right corner, there was a little chip that had come out of the one that I had, and it looked like they patched up that corner. So I am fairly certain that machine is mine.
So as a former pinball owner, how do you rate owning your own machine in your house?
It's hard to say. A lot of those older machines, they were a pain in the ass to fix and to work on. A lot of the
and dangerous, right?
Yeah, a lot of the newer ones, they're much, much easier. I didn't really know how to fix it at the time. And I didn't have any problems with it, so I kind of lucked out with that, except a flipper issue, but I was able to fix it.
Okay.
But they are expensive and they take up space, and
and they're loud.
Yep. And I think if you wanted to get a pinball machine, a full size one, then knock yourself out. But now they have the digital ones that you can get that have every table on it. Not the same, obviously, but that seems to be the way to go that a lot of people are doing.
Yeah. I was curious.
Yeah,
But I would never own one again. I would never have one.
You would never own. Well, there's the review,
Mm-mm.
right? You just would
No.
never own one again. Yeah.
I can see the appeal, but it is extremely expensive. I think the base Stern ones right now are $7,000,
Mm-hmm.
and they go up from there. And then I wouldn't even know how to repair one. So if something really goes haywire with if I bought one and it would just jam up or something is not working, man, I would feel sick, and you'd have to pay someone to come out and fix it.
Yeah.
I think the light tone is a setup for a emotional.
You missed his earlier comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You got backup.
At some point, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Transformers 1 trailer. I'm cautiously optimistic that it'll transform into a more serious movie. Well,
It's on the docket.
yeah, we'll talk about it later. I think I'm the only one here that saw it in space. So they had the trailer in space. We can talk about it later, but yeah. Man, playing those new Stern pinballs, I loved the new Jaws. I had this first time I got to play it. It plays really fantastic. Compared to the Venom, and I think the Venom's good, but I feel like the Jaws one is really more interactive. And I had a lot of good times with the Foo Fighters one, and then the app. So, I don't know. It looks like Chris and Dathan also got their app going. I didn't even realize you can get it. You could, if you have your Apple Watch, you can sync the QR code to your Apple Watch, and you can just use that on the machine. Works super easy. I was gonna share.
I wasn't even listening to Dathan when he was explaining how that works. So if you watch your video, you can see me in the background trying to figure out how to scan the QR code, and I'm all like, "What is this?" And then I realized I had to turn the phone over.
Well, here's Chris's stats from playing pinball. It's so awesome. We can now go and compare. Like on Black Knight, he scored 4 million points. On he only played it once. It's that's awesome. He played Batman 66. He scored 22 million. If you guys can see that, so really cool. There's achievements on the app. This is their website. I'm really impressed with that. So that is something that the other. Well, it's the first of I've ever seen them do something like this. It's just really cool. And
cool,
I can go and compare. On Star Wars, I got a 445 million score, and it also I think at one point it told me the percentile of how good I was compared to the average person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my only gripe right now, and maybe I need to do more tinkering, is if you wanted to, maybe we could set up our own little tournament. We could have our own little stat page, and maybe there's something. Maybe I'm missing something, but seems like that's possible. We could have our own little, and I'm sure you could put this all into a spreadsheet or something. But super cool, and the app will tell you where to find new machines. And machines in your area, so it's dope. But next level, man, they have everything, so it's might as well just go there.
I mean, they don't have everything.
They don't have X-Men. All right.
One of the, again, I loved the place, but I do want to say that there's notable gaps. So the one machine I was looking for pinball wise was the hybrid Pac-Man, which we thought was Pac-Man Junior, but I looked it up later.
Baby Pac-Man.
Baby Pac-Man.
Baby Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible. It's a horrible pinball game. It's not a very fun pinball game to play. But I grew up playing it, and I wanted to see it there and play it again. And it was notably absent, but amazing place. They have a lot of awesome stuff. Worth going.
Right. The Baby Pac-Man is a different one for the fact that it's got multiple like play fields in it. So like you have to play like the arcade game,
Right,
and then you
on the
go back to
screen.
the flipper part of it. So
Mhm.
that's unique for
Mhm.
sure. Most pinball games did not do that. Chris, what did you think of Next Level?
I thought it was great. It's definitely $22 to be able to go in there and not have to pay to play.
So worth it.
Unless, of course, you want to play the vending machines, then you can pay whatever you want. But $22, honestly, I was kind of surprised by the amount of stuff they have in there to do. The amount of games. I will say with the Stern Pinball Insider, their app and everything. I'm not a big pinball fan, but this does make me want to play pinball machines.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so I kept finding myself going back to play them just because I wanted to get those scores and do that stuff. And every time I looked at some of the other pinball machines, I was like, you don't have a QR code scanner. You're
No,
not
it's like
good enough. You're not good enough
absolutely.
for me.
It
So
totally made you want to play the newer ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting business decision to do this, but it's kind of genius in a way to get people who maybe aren't pinball fans, but they do like the idea of scores and seeing how much they can improve and follow their progress. That they're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to play these pinball machines because I can do this.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, $22. I was like, started thinking about it because Wonderland is like $5 to get in, and then it's a nickel per game. But you could easily rack up $22 there
Easily.
and beyond. So it's a great deal in the amount of stuff you can do. We were there for 5-6 hours,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it was
just the
fun.
memorabilia, just all the stuff to see
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
kind of worth the $22
Oh
to
And
yeah,
see all of the stuff.
they do keep their tables all very immaculate too. Like it's a very clean place for a arcade, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So yeah, that's another bonus with that place.
Yeah, I always saw people walking around, wiping down the
Mhm.
pinball tables, touching all the buttons. Excellent. Like, and
Mhm.
maybe that's a good symptom coming out of COVID. It's like everyone's doing that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I'm all for it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, and the bathroom was great.
Mhm.
They have an amazing bathroom in there with signed photos. And I think I've showed it in one of my other videos, but I mean, it's super cool. So, um, Dathan, uh, did you have any thoughts? You'd been there before a couple times, right?
Yeah, I was there in February. I think that Chris and Eric said it best is that you are paying for $22 admission to go to an arcade and you get a museum for free. Pretty
Mhm.
much is what you get because
Yeah.
there's so you could spend 3-4 hours just looking at so much stuff. And even in your picture that you have in your background here, they have something that I've always wanted as a kid. Is if you look above Eric's head, if that's what it is, they have the Mario lunchbox, and I always
Oh,
always wanted that when I was a kid, and I never
Nice.
got it. But the on our drive home, Eric and I, we were talking about the omissions, the X-Men, and I didn't see a Zaxxon either.
Mm.
And that's the one that I did want to play. But I also looked up, I wanted to see what pinball arcades in the country are comparable to what Next Level is. And in Seattle, they have, it's called the Seattle Pinball Museum,
Mhm.
and it's $23 and it's unlimited play, but they only have 50 machines.
What?
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there is in Vegas, they have their own
Yeah.
pinball
Yep.
museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard really bad reviews about that place.
Yeah, and you have to you don't pay to go in, I don't think, but everything you have to pay to play everything, and it's like a big open warehouse from what I saw in the
Mhm.
pictures.
Yeah.
So I didn't find anything that's even close to what Next Level has to offer compared to other this type of arcade.
No,
And
right, yeah.
let me just say,
Totally.
like, there's guys that watch our channel here that don't live in our area. I implore you, if you do come to the Portland, Oregon area, you got to check out this place because it is something special.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, we'll show you around.
Yeah, and maybe we can organize. Like, I want to go back there. If I wasn't married and had my own family and whatnot, like, man, I'd be over there every week. But maybe we can plan something out in the future with if guys want to come out here and meet us. Like, I know some of you guys out in the chat, like, come meet us there. We'll hook you up and we'll show you a great time at this place. It's unbelievable.
I'm only about 15 minutes away from it, just to rub it in.
My God.
Yeah.
So,
and I've only been twice. That's the worst part about it, is I forget. And then when we left, I was like, and through this week, I've been thinking, like, I've got like an hour. I could just head over there. Like, so I could actually join their little frequent flyer program, right? And make that a thing. Yeah. So I'll probably go back next week, actually.
Retro Lizard Custom Arcades. There's a place by me called Poketeer Billiards, and it has 91 pins. That's really good.
Oh, nice.
Retro Lizard, where are you from? That's cool. So, Joel, if you got a cool place you want to share it, please let us know too, because I'd be down to travel somewhere too if it's really cool. I know Galloping Ghost Arcade in Chicago would be a really cool one to go to, but from what I hear, there's a lot of arcades in that place, but it's very cramped. This is not cramped at all. Okay, you're in New York. Nice.
No, I take back what I said last week, where I said that I felt like it was a little too tight. I take that back. I felt like I had, at least with the amount of people that were there, I felt like there was plenty of space, and I didn't feel like claustrophobic or anything like that.
Yeah. The amount of like parking there was pretty astounding.
It's like an airport there.
Yeah, you saw the front lot was filled. The back lot was almost filled by the time we got there, and we got there early. And then we went on exiting. We saw that there was an even further back lot that you could spill over into. So the parking's great.
Who has a parking lot like this? Like, grocery stores don't even have a parking lot. Like Costco doesn't even have a parking lot.
It's close to a Costco size. Yeah, it got busier and busier the whole time we were there, but there were so many machines it never felt crowded. It felt like there were more people, but there was always a machine that you wanted to play and you could get to and easily play. So that was, I mean, it was a phenomenal experience. The way they have it set up. And the food carts outside were great. That you showed the pizza earlier.
Yeah, I showed. I can show it again. That pizza was to die for.
I talked to the guy who was running the show. Yeah, he's got it dialed in, man.
Yeah, and there's another food cart outside. It looks like was it Italian
pasta place?
Yeah.
It was a noodle. You can get yourself some nudes, fresh nudes,
hot nudes.
So, cool. Chris, you said, I think the only thing that I was missing was there was no alcohol, but maybe if you have your own private party, you can bring it into the party. I don't know what the rule is on that, but I don't know. Some of the bars around here, you definitely can drink and stuff, but something to think about. Anyway, I really enjoyed meeting up with all you guys, and Travis I will have to meet you one of these days. I didn't get to say hi. Man, we got into gaming.
Oh yeah.
So
right. No, same here. I find a pinball machine and then I kind of stick with it. Centaur was the one. They're the really old ones that they have that were just brutally difficult. Those ones suck me. Like, as opposed to the newer ones, the really old ones that they have, they kind of.
What's the Haunted Mansion one? That's the one. I thought that was brutal.
That one's difficult. Yeah.
You play Black Hole.
I spent time on that. I didn't do Black Hole. I spent a lot of time actually on Black Knight.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they got there's 70s, 80s, 90s. And then I think for a time there, no one was making any pinball, and then Stern came back.
Yeah.
So thank goodness for Stern doing what they do. And there's another company that's making pinballs now too.
New Jack or Jack something, right? Out of Jersey Jack. Yeah.
So
Theirs are crazy. I mean, like their games are like they take a while for me to like. I played Wizard of Oz for a good like afternoon, and that took a while for me to figure out like the play style, the play field, and all that stuff. Just because there's so much multimedia going on with it.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
No.
Though.
They had a couple there. So anyway, check it out. And if you guys have any questions about, if you ever any questions about that place, please let us know. We're happy to help answer questions. So, all right. Anybody have anything else to say before we move on? I think we're good, dude. Guys, I just want to say, like, how many of you guys are iPhone owners? Like, do you use your iPhone or do you? What are you?
Android.
Android.
BlackBerry.
I've got an iPhone.
I
Yeah,
have iPhone.
yeah. BlackBerry still. On my phone
Travis,
as
your
well, yeah.
iPhone. Dathan,
I
Yep.
am. Yeah.
your iPhone.
Yes.
Chris, what are you?
Android.
Oh, you loser.
No, I haven't
Oh.
been suckered into the Apple wasteland.
Dude, it might be time to switch. You know, people they used to say people with iPhones got laid more, dude. But now
I have an Android. Can vouch.
but now I don't know how they pulled this off, and I don't know the inner workings of I guess when you make an app, you submit it to Apple and they approve it. This just recently got approved. And the old way to do this kind of thing is you have to jailbreak your iPhone or your device. And what I'm talking about is loading emulation for games onto your phone. And someone submitted this. It's called Delta. It's now an official app on the Apple App Store, and it plays Nintendo games. It plays Nintendo NES. It plays Super Nintendo. And you guys are Googling now. I hear you.
Yeah.
It plays N64 games. It plays Game Boy. I don't think it plays. Maybe it does play Game Boy regular. I know it plays Game Boy Advance. I think Game Boy Color. And it seems like I'm missing one. But they're all approved. And I've got a whole bunch of ROMs. Man, just load it on there, and I'll say the ones I am using are the ones I've purchased. But my
For
God,
legal
like,
reasons, you've purchased all of these.
right? No, like I'm at work today, and on my break, I'm playing Super Empire Strikes Back on my phone.
Dope.
Holy frick! Like it's not. It's smaller than your Switch. You don't have to worry about that. And then the other, okay, yeah, dude, yeah, you got the
That's
one
next.
still in the box.
That's next.
How many of you guys did you guys ever buy a black backbone? I hadn't used mine in a couple years. This works perfect for that. So you just plug this into your iPhone. This app is compatible with different controllers like Xbox, Nintendo Switch, so you can plug those all up to your phone. But this, you just plug in your phone to this, and you have full access to all the buttons for these games. It works amazing. So yeah, like and the other thing. So the Apple VR headset, if you have that $3,000 VR setup, you can play this on there. You can play in VR. You can play all these games in VR. People are showing it on YouTube. Like, what? So anyway, I'm blown away. I'm glad. I don't know if there's going to be a lawsuit coming from Nintendo to Apple. We'll let those big boys sort it out. But if you have an iPhone, a iPad like Dathan, man, get this app. You will not be disappointed, and everything I've tried to load on it works. So it just works. So it's like great. So I'm ecstatic. Like playing some of these older games. Like, who needs a Raspberry Pi now? You just get it on your phone. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. Anyway, Anyway, do you guys have any thoughts on this? Like, I'm pretty happy, obviously.
Well, it looks like based on this, the guy who created that Delta emulator is out of the EU, and last couple of years, Apple's lost lawsuits over there for not allowing apps on their store, and so that's probably why it's on there now. Is because they just don't have a choice anymore when it comes to this. And
Well,
so,
who is not allowing it? Apple or Nintendo? Seems like Nintendo would be the one to go after these
according
emulations.
to, I mean, this website, this article says that Apple's rejected Delta for years.
Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
probably due to them worried about Nintendo coming after them with
Yeah.
lawsuits. But I don't know what's changed. But anyway, now that this is official, like, now this opens the floodgates for these other emulators to be on the App Store. Like, maybe we can see GameCube on your iPhone. Maybe we can see Dreamcast. Like, I'd love to play Redream on there. Like, that'd be freaking dope. So, anyway, yeah, I'm stoked. Dathan,
In like
you
20
need to go get
years,
this.
Yuzu will come back on the iPhone.
Right.
Then you can play Switch.
Dathan, please, you need to go download this for your iPad.
Oh, I'll look into it.
Holy moly, dude. You won't be disappointed, dude. Anyway. And if anyone in the chat, like, yeah, like, you know, I get, like, physical collecting is great, but man, emulation is going to be the way of the future for everybody. I'm sorry, it is. So, anyway, what else do we have? We had the Nintendo Indie Developer Direct, or what did you call it? What was that, Chris?
Indie World Showcase.
Yeah, did you guys watch that?
I did watch that one.
I just watched the highlights. I just saw the list of games that are coming out.
Yeah. Well, it's I thought this one was interesting because it has the first timed exclusive for Nintendo with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually it's a game right now on Apple Arcade, and they're finally porting it onto the Nintendo Switch. So you say it's a console exclusive for them. I imagine it's going to go to Xbox and PlayStation after some time period.
Yeah, I did say it was a timed exclusive. So
from what I've heard, though, like it's a good game, and this is going to be, there are 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games coming out this year for consoles. So there's that one. There's one based on the last movie that's coming out, and then there's this game that's coming out next week. That's the arcade game you guys were playing at Next Level. They're porting that to Switch and Xbox, PlayStation. So 3 Turtles games. So we're eating good if you're a Turtle fan. Did anything else catch your guys' eye at all?
Well, there's SteamWorld Heist 2. The first one was a fun strategy RPG. So
okay,
I'm kind of interested in that one. And then there was obviously, if you feel like playing a game and learning out what kind of personality you are, there's apparently a refined self, the personality test game. So it's a video game where you play it, and as you play it, you're actually taking a personality test.
Interesting.
It looked like too much of a homework assignment for me.
Well, you could find out if you're truly a sociopath, and yeah, we kind of knew that already. But
Dathan's personality came back badass. I don't know, is that good? That good.
I mean, don't need to buy it now. You already gave it away.
But yeah, no, I mean, there were a lot of like small indie games, of course, but there really wasn't anything that popped out to me, at least. I don't know about you, Dathan.
The only, like this, the Turtle one that stood out to me. It plays a lot like Ultimate Alliance, the Marvel game, from what I saw. It is roguelike, so you'll have to start over when you die. You know,
Wow.
how roguelike games are. But that was pretty much the only one that I really saw that was like, yeah, it'd be good to give it a try.
Yep.
What else happened?
Well, we got to talk about Transformers 1.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
We got to
yeah.
do it.
Is Saiyan still in the chat? I don't know if maybe he fell asleep.
You can watch the replay.
But yeah, this was the first trailer that they showed off in space. So there was some kind of drone, or I don't know what it was, a rocket. No, he's here. Okay. He's been tuning out. Thank you for coming back. Yeah, they showed off the trailer in space. Like I was talking with Chris about it. Like, there's no sound in space, so it's like, how are we gonna hear this thing? But they dubbed it all over, obviously. But you wonder like why some of these movie budgets go out of whack. Like you're working for some movie studio and you're like, come up to the director, hey, I got an idea. Let's show the trailer in space, and it'll cost a couple $1,000, but F it. It's not my money. Let's do it. Like they're like, sure, go right ahead. Uh, but I guess we need to ask Dathan. Dathan, what did you think of the trailer? Are you,
Okay.
as the mega Transformers fan, are you excited?
So I watched it a few times.
Mhm.
The first couple times I watched it, and the third time I tried to break it down a little bit. I think it looks pretty good. The art style was a little. I thought it was going to be a lot like the first 5 minutes of Bumblebee. Where they're in the Cybertron. I thought it was going to be a lot like that. I think the voice acting is okay. The guy that they got to do Megatron, or not Megatron, D29, D12, what D16,
D16.
That's a little off-putting.
Mhm.
I think Chris Hemsworth he does Orion Pax pretty well.
Yeah.
I think. Scarlett Johansson as RC does pretty well. I don't know the guy that does B27. But I did read a lot of the comments after the trailer premiered, and people need to understand, like, this is they're kids, they're teenagers pretty much, before they're adults, before they can transform and everything, and they're learning their new abilities and all that stuff. I don't want to say I'm like cautiously optimistic. I think it's going to be pretty good. It's coming out at a good time where there's not a whole lot of other movies that are going to be out, so I think it's going to do well. But as a Transformers fan, I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be a fun movie. You don't have to be. There's some comedic stuff. They're not taking themselves too serious, but they are telling a story of these robots growing up, and obviously the end of it, we'll see how they are, as adults. So that's my take on it.
Was there any kind of backstory in the original cartoon that Megatron and Optimus Prime were friends as kids? Is this complete?
No,
Okay.
not. I mean, the series pretty much starts with the Ark crashing into. Fun fact for you, is actually crashed into Mount St. Helens up in Washington, but they just changed the name to something else. So it actually takes place not too far from where we're at. But as for like the background story, there's mentions of it, but nothing like a full episodes of, this is what we did when we were kids, that type of stuff. No.
You know what I think they should do for a Transformers movie, and you guys should back me up on this. They should have the movie come out on Prime Day. Am I right?
Oh, no. One thing, yes, I get it, Prime Day. that I did not see a single human in the movie.
Right.
So the human element should be non-existent from this. So
Which is good.
yes,
That's good.
Yeah.
They're the ones that F things up.
So I just had yeah, well, I mean, look around. I just had dinner with my nieces tonight, and they are in freshman year high school and 8th grade respectively, and they're stoked out of their minds for this film. Like, they're real excited about it. And not only that, like, their mom was excited to go take them to the movie. So I'm just kind of excited for them that they get to see a new Transformers film that they're excited to see, and that their mom is willing to go and take them to go see it. So it seems like it's appealing to a wide variety of audiences, and I think that's great. You know, the more people who are into it, I think it's going to be fun for us to see. So I'm excited about it.
Chris,
Well,
didn't your brother?
It might be a good way to get those new younger generation into the older Transformers. You know, if they really like this one, show them the original Transformers.
Oh, they're already into the old stuff. Like my niece,
You know.
My niece in particular, the younger one, she makes stop motion animation like with her action figures, and like recreates movie scenes. And so it's the audio from a movie scene, but it's acted out by the Transformers. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it looks good to me. I do think it's going to be a case of we're going to get, depending on how much time they invest, if it's going to be something where it all takes place within a certain amount of time, like a short period, or if it's expanded over a long period of time for this movie, we could get, you know, why Orion Pax and D16 become enemies, become Optimus Prime and Megatron, and why they're not friends anymore. Or it could be something where they're like, hey, we're going to end the movie at a point here where it's like the next one, you want to see the sequel. That's the point at which we actually delve into that. So I don't know. I don't know if the movie's going to take place on Cybertron or if it's supposed to be a different planet altogether. Because they were referring to the fact that they all lived underground in this trailer. So,
Chris, weren't you saying that your brother didn't want to go see it because it was too funny? They were making too many jokes.
Yeah, it looked like there were too many jokes in the movie. And the Transformers is a serious business.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
you know, I've said it before, and the only star rating or review that matters is mine. And I would rather have a Transformers movie than I would than not have one to watch. Period. So that's how I see it. And I'll tell you this: they're gonna make a assload of toys. I mean, there were toys. They already showed toys before the trailer even came out.
Honestly, for me, like, I watched it, and Dathan, I love you, man, but I was not I was not interested in it. I guess the real litmus test will be I'll show it to my son, and I'm curious if he wants to go see it. Monkey Paw activated, movie in production now. Ha ha ha. Okay, Leakrian, thank you. But yeah, I guess I haven't been into the Transformers movies. I can see where they're going. Maybe if this movie's successful, like, they can do a sequel to this one, and they continue this drama between Optimus and Megatron. Maybe they have a love child together. I don't know how it works with the robots. How do they procreate? I don't know. I don't know how it works. So it's saying first, it's a caste system and the worker class lives underground. The story actually lends itself to dark overtones.
Yeah, they're Morlocks, man. The Morlocks are underground, making everything work.
What couldn't they do like a cool, like, rated R Transformers? Like, is that, like, they could do a kid one? Why can't they do like a more mature one?
Well, I mean, realistically, they're robots, so unless
That could
they
be.
have, unless
There's a
they
whole.
show a bunch of humans like being killed, it's never going to get an R rating because
Well, I'm just going to
they,
like. I'm thinking about AI like taking over. Like that's a real kind of threat. We're worried about in the future. Like this could happen. So maybe put that fantasy element of Transformers into that. That everything is really more than meets the eye, and the stuff's out to kill you now.
Mm-hmm.
That I would go see. That's a movie. That's your movie. Anyway, all right. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm a Beast Wars fanatic more than G1, so I'm always going to give a fair shake to a fully CGI Transformers movie. Okay, Alikrian, I will heed your advice. I will see it. I will watch it if you guys watch. If maybe we can go see it together. I don't
Your
know.
kid's gonna want to see it. I mean, come on.
He's really into Ghostbusters right now. He's
Yeah.
telling me right now he can't wait
Get
for
him the Ecto Ghostbusters Transformer crossover thing, and
right.
he'll be
There we
stoked.
go. Yeah, and then I got to pay for all those new toys too. And
Yeah, yeah. Start a GoFundMe.
Travis, did you see the trailer at all?
I did
Okay.
not. I didn't know that it was a
Yeah.
thing. Aside from what we talked about last week a little bit with it. So no, I haven't seen it. And my children wouldn't be interested in it. It's not in their wheelhouse. But if it's an origin thing, since I missed out on a lot of the Transformer stuff, I might actually be interested in seeing it.
Okay.
If it offers as a starting point into the whole, storyline and all of that stuff.
Is there a Transformers pinball game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not. There's not a whole lot to it. It's modeled a little bit after a lot of the pinballs like Batman and Spider-Man,
Yeah.
the 2008 2010 Sterns.
Gotcha.
So they're pretty basic. There's not a whole lot to them.
Well, maybe we'll get an update. That'd be so cool. That could be totally future episodes of this show. We could talk about like what pinball games they need to make, what IP they could do.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Right.
Space Quest, the pinball game.
Yeah.
Man, the amount of negotiating with whoever owns Sierra's IP now.
Yeah.
would be
Microsoft.
insane from what I've read about, like how the developers, but it's like I don't think anybody in Microsoft knows who owns it. Like within the company, I think it's just like in a complete deadlock hall closet somewhere, right?
Speaking of intellectual property nightmares, I did want to mention that they finally started the Kickstarter for Freestar's Children of Infinity this week, which is the actual sequel to Star Control 2. So Toys for Bob was started by those two guys, Paul Rich III and something Ford. I forget the guy's name, but they lost the name Star Control, and so for a long time they couldn't actually make a sequel until they had this giant legal proceedings, and I don't want to call it a battle per se because it ended amicably, but it took a long time. And so 27 years later, 25 years, however long it's been, they're finally, those two original Toys for Bob creators are actually making a sequel to Star Control 2. I kickstarted it.
Nice.
I helped, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an old school style game, but that's kind of my thing. So,
how much money are they looking to raise?
Hello.
Oh, they're already meeting stretch goals, so they've
they
gotten there. Yeah, they've already raised enough to make the game. But they want it. I think the $30 tier will get you a digital copy of the game, which is all I am interested in. So,
what are the more expensive levels you can do?
Oh, you can pay like $500 and like write some of the messages from Earth that you find in the game. You can
Huh.
pen some of those. If I think the very top tier is somewhere around $5,000, and you can help design one of the alien starships.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah, I saw Toys for Bob was they were bought out by Microsoft, but then they had some kind of a thing where they just separated from Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool, and they get to do whatever they want now. So hopefully they are super successful with that. Did they say when that game is? They're looking to release that at all? They're probably
I
just
didn't
making it right now, huh?
I didn't see. Honestly, I
Probably
saw an
5
honest to
years
God
from now.
sequel to Star Control 2 and just backed it. That's all it takes from
Yeah,
me. Yeah, and it's Pistol Shrimp is the studio that's doing it. Toys for Bob, again, they split off and they're doing their own thing.
yeah. What else did you guys want to? It's we're almost time to hang it up here. Travis, you posed a question last week.
Mhm.
What's your favorite gaming accomplishment? What was that?
Yeah, like what's your biggest gaming accomplishment? Like what are you most proud of? What took you the longest? What would you hang your hat on, so to
Did you
speak,
guys?
from all of
Yeah,
your
did you guys
history of
ponder
gaming?
that at all? Can we go through
Yeah,
that?
I thought about that one. I think what it would be, the first thing that came to mind was beating Metroid, like all of the Metroid except for Prime 3 I haven't played yet, but all the other Metroid games without looking up how to any cheats or anything. Like Zelda and Metroid are the two games that I don't look anything up on. But then when I really thought about it, it was like I think my my the gun show.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry,
No,
sorry.
it's good. It's good. You derailed me. No, I think what it is though, for me when I thought about it a little bit longer is the beating Thief, Dark Age, Metal Thief,
Yeah.
the Metal Age, or the Dark Project Metal Age, which is Thief 2, and Thief 3, which I forgot what the official name of that title is, but I beat all of those on the highest difficulty. And when you're playing that
Mhm.
game on the highest difficulty, very often it's like you can't kill anything, or you can't kill any humans at least. So and in some of them you can't even be seen. Like you have to get in and out of the building or whatever you're stealing stuff from without even being noticed, and that is becomes very difficult. So I think that's really my biggest achievement is the first 3 Thief games on the hardest difficulty.
Okay, Dathan,
I
should we come back to you?
Yeah, well, I think my biggest gaming achievements was just growing up and playing video games in the 80s, because
Mhm.
there was no internet back then, and there
It's
was no
true.
guide, and there wasn't any of that stuff to help you through games. And so when you're a kid, I mean, you spend hours and hours trying to play games. And so I don't have a set, like, I beat this game in 4 seconds. I don't have any things
Yeah, yeah.
like that. So I mean, if it was like a gaming thing, I mean, I beat Zelda and the second quest without any help. So I guess it's
Second
probably
Quest is hard, man.
it was very,
Second
very
Quest is so
difficult.
hard.
My brother and I tried to play that a few times, and we gave up, and then I tried again later on, and then I was able to finish it. But yeah, I mean, being an 80s kid playing Nintendo games and renting games and having 2 days to beat them,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah, that
also,
was a real thing back in the day.
that was an achievement by itself.
Yeah.
Achievement unlocked right there. Game rentals.
How many were you successful at doing that with though?
Um,
Like because I didn't have a console, so I would go to my friend's house and they would do that, and then never did we beat anything because there's too much
it
screwing around,
depended
right?
on
Like too
what the
much talking,
game was.
choking, and
It
eating
depended on
stuff.
what the game was. Yes, we did have Nintendo Powers back then,
Mhm.
but it was
Oh, you did?
limited help. It wasn't like Chris mentioned Star Tropics last week's show, and I remember the Star Tropics Nintendo Power only got you to like level 3. That's as far as it didn't go past that. So it kind of gave you a tease, like we're gonna help you up to here, and then you're shit out of luck on your own.
There was the phone line though. I remember my brother and I called the Nintendo Power helpline
number.
How much did it cost?
We did it once. I don't remember. I was in like 4th grade or 3rd grade or something, but I remember we called them, and they 75 cents a minute or whatever it is. A real person would talk to you, and what it was is we were playing Deja Vu. We rented it, and we wanted to beat it before we returned it. And the old television we were playing on, the resolution was so poor, and it was so fuzzy that you couldn't see the outline of a secret door that we just couldn't see because the resolution was bad. So the guy on the phone just told us, "Oh, there's a secret door there. You press this button." We're like, "There's no secret." He's like, "Your television's bad. Just press the button." So that's But yeah, the helpline came in handy at least once.
Wow.
So Chris, to mention to what you said on Sunday about Star Tropics with the letter with the code.
Yeah.
I looked online, and apparently Nintendo did an update for Star Tropics for the Switch Online, and they tell you the code apparently.
Oh, really?
At some point, yes, they tell you the code somewhere at the beginning or somewhere in the game. They tell you the code to get past in the submarine.
I played it when they first dropped it on Nintendo Switch Online, and the code wasn't there, and so it was like, what was the code again? And I had to go online. But yeah, it was definitely one of those that there were other games out there that had codes in the books, and if you didn't have the books with you, there was nothing you could do to play the game.
Yeah. Also, growing up, I had a binder full of passwords, just like in alphabetical order. Like, so if I did go rent a game and I didn't beat it, Castlevania was one.
Oh, that's right.
Punch Out to get to Mike Tyson. Sometimes people would write the codes in the instruction manual. So when you rented it, it would have a code that was in there. Metroid had codes. Yep. All that stuff. So
because the code was how you'd get to like a save, not a save game, but basically a level state. So you could continue at level 7 or whatever. Is that what they were for? Okay.
I remember going to the arcades and playing Mortal Kombat 2, and to remember how to do like their
finishing
fatality. Like we didn't know any of that stuff, and like you had to write it down, and you remember how to do it. You bring your notepad with you, and then you're at the at school. You could trade that stuff with your friends, and then go try it out. It was dope.
But honestly, I wouldn't trade any of those gaming experiences for anything. Those were great times, and they were fantastic.
For sure.
So greatest gaming achievement is just being old. So that's
just being old. No, that's valid.
That's where I'm at.
That's valid. Yeah.
All right,
Totally
Chris,
valid.
do you have a greatest gaming achievement moment?
I mean, I would honestly say the first Dark Souls game gave me the biggest feeling of accomplishment playing through it. Because I don't register patterns, and so trying to fight those bosses that are pattern based and everything, trying to figure out how to do them, got frustrating. But I mean, Final Fantasy series is a big one that a lot of people played, a lot of people loved. The only one I ever beat was Final Fantasy X. Which I'm sure a lot of people absolutely hate, think it's garbage, and it probably is, in all reality, but it was the only one that I had ever beaten.
How many hours did that one take for you to get through? Like, is it just because it was so long that like gave you a huge sense of accomplishment, or was it a difficult RPG as well?
Final Fantasy X? It was, I want to say I probably put 60 hours into that one. But it was the sense of I'd played 6, I'd played 7, I'd played 8, I'd played 9, and gave up halfway through them. And so 10 was the only one that I went through the entire game beat it, and I was like, oh, hey, look, I can beat a Final Fantasy game, and not feel like I'm wasting my time. But yeah, Dark Souls is honestly probably one of those that I felt the most accomplished going through and beating the game. But it's interesting to see what has kind of come out of that one game. And the director of that game, he had created you could summon people to help you fight the bosses. And that was all off of the fact his car broke down on the side of the road and somebody stopped to help him. And so he's like, hey, here's a game mechanic I can add into my games where you can summon people because some random person stopped and helped him on the side of the road when his car broke down. So it's kind of interesting where game developers get ideas from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Developers. No, there was a guy that was in the comments a couple weeks ago. It was like, Garage Gamer, you say developers too much. I was going to comment on that last week. Like, I really?
Send him the Ballmer quote.
Developers.
You saw some developers developing some camera film, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You say developers too much. Why? Are you like, oh, I'm sorry.
That's because they turned it into a drinking game, and so like every time Garage Gamer says developer, we drink. Oh, we're getting drunk over here. Could you please stop saying it?
Should we let Travis go last since he posed this question?
Yeah, I'll go last. Yeah.
Okay. For me, you know what it is, and I totally get what Dathan is saying. Living in the 80s and going through that, it was amazing. But for me, my greatest gaming accomplishment is just having my own kids and playing games with them and seeing them grow up. And I know some of you guys don't have kids yet. Man, and yeah, it was a great feeling to live in the 80s and do some of this stuff, but there's nothing better than seeing your own son playing Mario Kart with you and you teaching them how to, and they're just learning their fine motor skills. They're trying to figure out how to use a controller, and then they get it, and then they're off and rolling, and it makes you feel like really good. Like, my son's 5 years old and he's still learning a lot of stuff right now, but he's already doing some amazing things with Roblox and some of these Nintendo games, and I'm blown away. So I'm sure my daughter's going to be the same. She's watching intently. So that's my gaming. I'm proud of my kids for a lot of different reasons, but that's a kind of a special one for me that it's fun to see what their journey is going to be, and then I'm living it with them, and it's really special. So I wouldn't trade that for anything right now. And I can't really think of any single game like trophy or achievement that I beat. There are so many over the years, but that feeling alone with my kids just makes me feel good. And
makes it's the big return on the investment of playing games all your life, right?
Exactly.
Like you're watching the torch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when I get even old, like you see some of these videos, like senior citizens, like in the nursing home, and they're playing video game. Maybe they're playing still with their grandkids. Like I want to totally be that guy. So that'd be amazing.
Yeah. I would, my kids, I got them a Nintendo Switch. They got no interest. Like it's maybe once a year they fire something up and play. They've got like no interest in any of that stuff, which is fine by me because, they got other interests. But for me, I was thinking, so when I first thought about this, I was thinking, okay, you get all these achievements. So, but out of all these things that I've done in my gaming life, like what was like the biggest one? Initially, I kind of thought Ultima, because Ultima 5 took a tremendous amount of time to get through, and like notepads, all the stuff, map making, everything. Ultima 7, that would be up there, except I ran into the bug where after I got the Blackgate key, I was hightailing it back to the end game thing, and stupid gremlins stole the key from me, and I kept running, and so I couldn't beat the game, like, period. And Lord British has like apologized for that, I guess. Like, he talked about that and how they you couldn't patch a game back then. So if you bought the game before they patched it in the box later, you were just that's the bug you had, right? So all that one I never actually really beat. I had to go to your house, Eric, and beat it off your guys' save game. That's how I beat it. But what is the biggest one to me is actually I play the card game Hearthstone, like when I'm at the gym and all of that stuff. And I've only played it free to play. I've never paid anything for the game. And I started playing it because a colleague of mine, he was playing it like during work. So I started playing it, blah, blah. And I kind of caught into it. And about a year into the game, maybe 2 years, a year into the game of playing it free to play, I started getting competitive with it. And then at the end of 2, I think it was, I made it to legendary. And I was like, that was pretty difficult to do, right? Because never spending money on the game, cards are constantly getting rifled out, Blizzard's doing everything they can to get you to jump in, dump money into it.
Right.
But what made me laugh the most is my wife is a high school teacher, right? And so she was at school, and one of the kids was like, "What does your husband do all day?" She's like, "I don't know. He works and he plays video games and does music for a hobby." And the kid was like, "What video game?" She's like, "Oh, he's been playing this game Hearthstone. He just made it to legendary, I guess, the other day." And the kid's like, "Oh, how much money has he spent on it? Probably a couple hundred." And my wife's like, wife said to the two kids that were bugging her, like, they're like, "No, he says he hasn't paid anything for it." And they said, "Then he's lying. There's no way you can make it to legendary without spending money in that game." And she came home and told me that, and she's like, "Have you actually been spending money on this game?" And I'm like, "No, honestly, it's all just been free to play." And yeah, and then after that, I started making it to legendary kind of on the regular. But that, to me, I remember when I made it to legendary, I was like, that's crazy. Like this big sense of accomplishment, right? It's pretty crazy.
You got the respect of high school kids, which is very hard to do. It's not an easy, not an easy thing.
Well, I kind of wondered, like, they have more time than I do. But the thing about that game is I can play it while doing cardio at the gym, because you're just swiping around cards, right? And I do stair mill at the gym. So like I've got a half an hour there that game's just got it's got me captive, right? To get my mind off of the torture of doing the cardio stuff. And so that's where a lot of it comes in, which when I told that to somebody my age who plays, they're like, "I think that's more impressive that you can keep your mind focused on that while you're doing cardio and don't fall off," right? So they thought that was a bigger achievement than making it to legendary. But yeah.
No money spent. That's the term there. Being no money spent on a game, that is an accomplishment in itself. I'm playing a lot of MLB The Show right now. And I was playing a guy. I went online last week, and this guy had every good card. Like last week, like he had Babe Ruth, who, if you play the game, he's a 99. Like unbelievable stats. Like he can hit, he can bunt, he unbelievable power. And he had his lineup was stacked, and I could tell that the only way that he has Babe Ruth is he went out and bought some cards to get him. And I don't want to know how much you spent, but you know what? I am absolutely no money spent in that game. I bought the game, but like I'm not going out and buying. They call them stubs. I'm not going out there and doing that. What you need is skill, and I was able to beat that guy.
Nice.
So I guess that's my latest. I am proud of that.
That's your latest one. Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, the freemium thing is an interesting. Like Hearthstone is the only one of those games that's got me, and it just was right time, right moment as far as like getting into the game. And then for some reason, I haven't found another game of that type that I've been interested in playing. Like back in college, we all played Magic the Gathering, like legit real card games. But I haven't actually found a freemium game, like a mobile game or something like that, that has actually gotten its hooks into me. Most of them seem a little too obvious that that's what they're doing. And Blizzard does a good job, I think, in the game studio and kind of doing what somebody does, stealing that idea, simplifying it, and making it easier to get into. And then also kind of disguising the fact that there's a whole bunch of money you're just going to waste on this thing going forward. They do a good job with that, it seems.
Absolutely. Adam Dark Empire, dude, thanks for coming on, man. I know I troll you a lot on Twitter, but skill over studs every time. Absolutely. And I get these companies need to make money, and if they can, this is the way of the 21st century. If they find a way to exploit people with giving them their credit card number, they will. I guess maybe I'd do the same if I was a developer. Developers. If I was a developer, I'd do the same thing. But man, like Dathan's shaking his head over there, like they didn't do that back in the 80s. Like, no, we just had skill.
In a way they did though, Dathan, right? Because if you made a game so difficult, like Sierra was notorious for this, right? Where they'd throw a puzzle from out of left field that you almost needed a hint book to get through. Right, like that would kind of be the idea, right? That like, okay, if I throw this out and then I add this add-on that somebody needs, right? Then they'll go and they'll buy it. And same thing with that 900.
Nintendo Power,
Yeah, a little bit of that. But I guess with the Atari games, you were still pretty pure with that stuff because that idea hadn't even crossed the Atari realm, I don't think, right? That started kind of with Nintendo
they had a deal with REI. You had to buy shovels from REI to dig up your copy of ET in the desert.
Yeah.
And so that's how they...
That game is infamous for being so awful, right? That's the idea.
It's real bad.
Yeah, people have gone to that spot in Nevada, and I think they've actually found them. I still have my copy of ET.
So do I.
The game's good.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. The problem with that game, I think I've talked about it before, like you have no idea what you're doing unless you read the instruction manual. Like literally. Like
well, that used to be a thing though. Like every time that I bought a PC game, like I do kind of, the old guy in me laments that, right? That like we used to go get the physical box, and then like especially the RPGs would have like a 60-page manual in it, right? Like Baldur's Gate even had like a hefty manual that came with it. Neverwinter Nights did as well. And you'd get it and then you'd read the manual as you fired the game up or whatever. Or sometimes, sometimes I would just read the manual and then fire the game up.
Those games.
And nowadays everything is like half the game is the tutorial teaching you how to play it, which has its perks, But yeah,
I mean, Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights, those games were explaining essentially the Dungeons and Dragons rule set. And so that's going to be a lot of pages.
Yeah. Did Baldur's Gate 3? I think it just assumed you knew, right?
It kind of does.
I beat it.
Kind of does just assume.
I can't remember. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? There wasn't much of a tutorial in it, as far as like, hey, this is your attack, things like that. Interesting, yeah. I guess I just played it and knew, right? And so I didn't really realize that it was kind of throwing people into the deep end of D&D wise.
I'm still stoked to play it, and like, I don't think they need to dumb things down. We'll figure it out. I think a lot of us are smart individuals.
And you look stuff up.
Chris can do it.
When you get stuck, you look stuff up and figure out,
Is Chris frozen? Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Chris, come back.
No, he is frozen.
Come back, Chris. Maybe he had to leave. Maybe we should just leave. We can. Oh, there he is. This is what I need to do, Chris. Like, I'll start making jokes about you, and then you'll like just to see if you're still there.
Yeah, I don't know. I was moving on my screen. I can hear all you guys perfectly fine. And it's not
Oh.
like I'm on Wi-Fi. I'm in a wired connection right now, so I don't get it. You know, maybe it's just once you say my name, I'm kind of like Beetlejuice or whatever. You know, I have to go away and come back.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's been this has been a great show. I really enjoyed meeting up with you guys last weekend.
Except you, Travis.
Hopefully,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I know.
But hopefully we can do
right
it again.
Here. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
quick.
you know, and maybe we check out other places in the future too, and more the expos and stuff. If you guys want to meet up there,
sure.
Totally down. Final thoughts, Chris? Anything?
Turn this
Before you
into a
freeze?
money-making machine, and then we can go on a road trip and just go to different arcades.
Go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
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 Adam, thank you so much. Travis, any final thoughts?
No, I'm gonna keep playing Assassin's Creed here in a little bit, and then once I plow through that, well, actually, has anybody tried the Harry Potter game?
I have.
Oh
Is it
yeah,
good?
I
actually went through and beat it. It was actually somewhat enjoyable. There are some of those open world missions that you kind of like. You start to play and you're like, you know, don't really care too much about them and everything.
Thank you, Jason.
No,
I thought the combat in is it Hogwarts Legacy? I thought
something like that.
I thought the combat was kind of weak.
Okay.
And,
yeah, it's between that or Alan Wake 2. Those are the two that are in
Chris
my thing. And
has
Dave
played Alan Wake 2.
Yeah,
was that
I've
you,
played
Chris?
both of them. Alan Wake 2 is a much better game, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Well, they're both going to get beat at some point. It's just the matter of what's next.
Yeah,
right?
the combat in Hogwarts Legacy is essentially rock paper scissors. You know, depending on what spells the enemy uses, you use paper to attack against the rock.
The other one.
Check it out.
Okay.
I think there's some interesting
I bought
elements
it,
in it.
So.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good game.
It was
That was the best-selling game of 2023. Was Hogwarts Legacy? Believe it or not.
I believe it.
Okay, cool.
Dathan,
there was I was going to mention. I don't know if you saw. Take 5 is laying off 500 more people from their development team, and at this point, Grand Theft Auto 5 has made $7.7 billion, and that doesn't include Grand Theft Auto Online. So, I mean, how do you make that much money and have to lay off this many people?
Well, I saw also, this is not game related, but Nike was laying off employees today, and they said that it's due to people not being innovative because they're working at home. I was like, whoa, that is some serious high level management talk right there.
That sounds
fake. You really can't innovate if you work from home. I don't know.
Maybe definitely fake.
I'll have to ask my wife about that. She works from home, but
you can't.
That's
you're not walking around in shoes, so obviously you can't innovate new shoes
when
you're working
off
from
10%.
Home. Oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's a rough world out there.
I'm gonna start my OnlyFans.
Subscribe.
Yeah. It's the only way.
Anyway, all right. I'm losing my voice. Dathan, any final thoughts?
No, good show. It was a fun weekend at the arcade. Had a blast. I will not be here next week. I have another half marathon. I will be
good luck.
Taking care of that. It's early on Saturday morning, but I'll definitely catch the replay. So to all my fans out there, there's maybe none of you.
No, show off some more of those graded NES games. You'll get some fans.
I'll be back the week after.
Yeah, awesome. Good luck. Be sure to carbo load.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Eric, final thoughts.
Go pledge the Free Stars Children of Infinity sequel to Star Control 2. That's my final thought.
All right, cool. Anyway, thank you guys. 13 people watching right now. I appreciate each one of you. Be sure to give this video a like. If you haven't, consider subscribing to me and Asa Jack's Media Grounds. Follow 8-Bit Gaming Legend on Insta. And if you guys have any other social media accounts, please let me know. And we'll get it out there. And we'll see you guys next week. Let's have a good week. Next week, there's some games coming out. What's that one place? My mind's going blank. The PlayStation 5 game that's coming out. Stellar Blade is next Friday. So try to pick that out. And I may have ordered the new Guitar Hero controller. So I got a shipment notification. It might be coming next week. The new guitar.
Cool.
So we'll see if it comes
Dathan
in.
kicks ass at that game.
Terrible.
Do you really?
No. So bad.
Yeah, I used to have one. So it'll be a blast. I think it'll be fun with the kids. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.